Greetings, or what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding this woeful morning, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1, fresh from the top of the Company of Heroes 2 ladder, featuring spawning in the south. It's going to be the Ostruppen forces of Hireling, and spawning in the north. Playing as the Soviet forces, it's going to be Steven JF. Did I say north twice in that intro? I feel like I might have. Anyway, pardon me. And the map here is going to be Langraskaya. Now, as these players move on out and get their units into position and this battle gets underway in earnest, I'm just going to say I tried to cast some Homeworld Deserts of Karak just now, but I kept on having synchronization issues and or like version issues with the replays and my version of the game, so I'm not really sure what's causing that. I'm going to have to go onto the Homeworld Discord and get that figured out. Suffice to say, sorry to all of the Homeworld Deserts of Karak fans. I did try to cast some just now, but unable to actually get a replay going, so I'm going to have to ask for some help on the Discord later on. Unfortunately, I've only got an hour right now, so I didn't want to waste time. As soon as I figured out that I couldn't cast Deserts of Karak, I just fired up Company of Heroes and decided to investigate exactly what is occurring here on the ladder. Pardon me. Now, let's have a look. So we've got Ostruppen Tactics, 2 squad Ostruppen, 1 squad MG42 so far. There's a 3rd squad of Ostruppens just entering the field now. So yes, Ostruppen Strat, which I always love to see. This is just one of the coolest commanders in the game, if you ask me. Definitely one of my favorites for Vermax. So transformational. Playing with Ostruppens is a completely different experience to the conventional Vermac tech tree. And it's really nice. Anything that breathes a bit of life into the Vermac faction, I'm always excited to see. And wow, MG42 going to get set up here with a lovely arc. Going to catch these conscripts immediately. Additional Struppens coming in to bolster here. These Struppens going to distance themselves from the conscripts, who are a little bit better in a fight. And but now it looks like the MG42 is flanked, so that's going to have to pack up rapidly. There will be a fallback on that. No danger of losing the MG42 at this crucial early juncture. And now we've got Struppens holding the high ground for the moment. But we're going to have to see exactly how long they can weather the storm of incoming Soviet bullets here. Probably not going to be super long. Yep, there we go. Struppen's now beginning to fall back. They realise this fight is kind of hopeless. And it looks like Hireling here opting to try and save as many Struppen models as possible. Not sure what I make of that, to be honest. I reckon those Struppens were probably still trading okay. They were effectively fighting a squad of conscripts and a squad of engineers. They were slightly outnumbered, but Hireling deciding to fall back there rather than trading out for damage and veterancy, which I respect. Basically, when I'm casting off the top of the live game ladder, I feel like I'm forced to respect most of the decisions that the players make, unless they're, like, you know, egregiously bad, but it rarely happens that way, so. Yep, those Struppens now reinforced, and they'll be coming back out onto the field here momentarily. So that'll be Battle Phase 1, of course, that we just heard finishing up. Another skirmish going on up here. Whoa, some Pioneers actually getting some good damage on conscripts at this range. That's slightly troublesome. There we go. The conscripts are actually going to have to fall back. That is a rare win for a Pioneer squad at no vet with no flamethrower. So, yep, nicely done. And actually, it looks like Allied forces kind of being forced from the field right now. Let's crack the tack and we can have a look at where all the units are. A lot of Allied units falling back right now. 3 conscripts active over here on the right flank. Going to try and grab that fuel, which they will be able to do. And that is important. But then they'll have to fall back. The majority of the map, of course, falling into Struppen hands right now, and that's got to feel pretty good if you're Hireling. Getting off to a nice start in this game. Anytime that you're Vermax and you get early game domination, and specifically if you can get double fuel income, you feel so good. That means that you can get a turbo rapid Panzer IV out on the field, or you can keep saving for something more menacing. And yep, liking what I'm seeing there. You know what? I'm just going to say we never see the Brumbar, probably for good reason. It's not a very great unit right now. Wow, he's actually just going to leave the munitions here. I guess this is the MG42, so you want it in a good position. Yeah, I would love to see a Brumbar. It's not the best unit right now, but I think if you're ever going to see a Brumbar, like, Brumbars will obviously excel on smaller maps where they're low speed and relatively low range. I mean, I know that they have some range, but I mean, they can't affect much of the battlefield at one time. It's not like they're an indirect fire unit. So I feel like Langraskaya is one of these maps where a Brumbar can actually flourish, because the map is so narrow, there's not really any room for flanking. A Brumbar positioned, like, I don't know, anywhere around here or here is going to be able to flump large amounts of the relevant map here, and that's going to be a massive headache for an allied player. I'm not saying it's a great strat, I'm just saying, fingers crossed, that's a little thing that I would like to see one day, if not today. But it's actually, so for now it's going to be a half track here for the Axis player, going to be looking to either grab some Flammenwerfers, has the requisite munitions here, or is going to use that as a mobile reinforcing half track, probably going to be the Flammenwerfers though. And it looks like here for the Soviet player, we got a mortar tube getting mixed in here, so Stephen JF still has the option to choose commanders here, so this is NKVD Rifle Disruption, no, it's Shock Rifle Frontline, I always get those the wrong way around, always. So yeah, one of the IS-2 commanders there, this is the one that also gets the KV-8. Then we've got... No, I don't really... Is this... No, I don't... I'm so bad at recognizing these Soviet commanders. Who's this guy? This is NKVD Rifle Disruption. Yikes, I'm so bad. So yeah, we've got the possibility of the Commissar here. Hang on a second, we've got a lot of fighting going on here. Massive skirmish over here in the west flank. MG42 going to catch a couple of conscript squads in the arc here, but these conscripts undeterred, getting up behind that MG. 251 half track going to reveal itself here. Flame projectors are done, so they're going to start projecting some flame here. Meanwhile, there's also a fight going on in mid. Looks like Struppen's doing a loop-de-loop here to get up on top of this mortar squad. Wow, actually, it's going to force a fallback. That's slightly frustrating for Stephen JF. You'd always rather have that tube firing for the longest possible amount of time, especially when it's just come out onto the field. Yeah, and so the third commander here for Stephen JF is, who's this? Soviet Combined Arms Army. Yeah, that looks like one of the sort of vanilla mix-up ones, just kind of using all of these abilities. He's going to choose that one even. There we go. Oh, was that a mine? Pretty sure I just heard a mine. Yep, so it looks like the Sturmoffizier, actually, no, sorry, it's the Artillery Field Officer. Falls foul of a mine there. That's frustrating, but it seems like it only gibbed one model, so that's actually kind of lucky. Whoa, 251 half-track here, caught out. Zisgun has it in arc, but no line of sight here. Ooh, yikes. Need to get this half-track out of there, man. That's an expensive half-track. It'd be a shame if something was to happen to that one. Laughs in Russian. So, okay, yeah. 222 going to be added into the roster here for Heiling, who seems to be getting off to a fantastic start here. The Soviet army looks ill-prepared to deal with this Axis force here. Guards infantry going to be added in, though, and that does make a lot of sense. That's obviously going to be useful against, well, all of these units. Guards ferocious against both infantry once you get the DPLMGs, and useful against these light vehicles, the PTRSs. Going to be a way of putting some meaningful damage onto these two light vehicles that we see here. And I like the inclusion of a Zisgun, recognizing that Heiling is going for a relatively sort of mechanized playstyle here with the 222 and the half-track. So mixing in a relatively early Zisgun here, and that's Langriscar is one of those maps where a Zisgun can basically kind of control like this area of the map, which is a large area just from this position here. So it's going to make it very hard for the Axis player to have their way with these armored units in this phase of the game. Actually, curiously enough, it seems like the Zisgun... Okay, now it's set to prioritize vehicles, as well it needs to be. Whoa, this half-track playing a risky game here, driving through the Zisgun's arc here. But gets away with it for now, actually. Oh no, guards got flamed. It was the guards in that building. Oh no, that's the worst. That's the last unit you want to be getting flamed. Mortar squad going to be getting some hits here. Already half a star of veterancy, man. These mortar squads. Ugh. The mortar squads are so good, aren't they? I mean, like, as far as indirect fire units go, the base mortar squads that Wehrmacht and Soviet and American forces get, they're so good. They vet up so quickly. They hit so consistently. Their rate of fire is so good. And I know that the Soviet mortar tube, it doesn't even fire quite as fast as the GR34. Or at least it didn't used to anyway. I wouldn't have thought they'd change that. It was a nice flavourful difference between the two tubes. Whoa, MG42 here caught out. Gets caught in a pocket here. Soviet forces gonna... Whoa, that mortar actually doing a bit of friendly fire there. But looks like the MG42 will get out of there. Anytime you donate an MG42 to your opponent, as I've said many times, is utterly terrible. Yep, friendly's killed one. His mortar tube literally has a negative KD right now. Oh, that's pretty bad. So, alright, artillery field officer. We're going to be leading through from the front here. Fragmentation grenade takes out a couple of his squaddies though, or at least one. And his run is going to be ended here. But this Soviet position is so compacted. The Axis player, look how far forward that this Ostruppen commander is enabling Heiling to fight by piling on so much pressure. There's just Struppen everywhere, forming a really nice battle line. And Soviet forces are beleaguered, but they are in good positions. Panzer Grenadiers have been added into the mix, though. But yeah, this is a great position. Mortar in a nice defensible position. I would love it if Stephen could afford a Maxim. I feel like that's the one thing he's missing to really break out on the map. So hopefully he'll go for a Maxim next. And if you can get a Maxim up into this building or into one of these positions here, that's going to make this Struppen-based strategy much harder to operate out on the field. It's going to be much harder as the Axis player to push as relentlessly into this like forward position like Heiling's been doing so far. So yeah, I think I'd like to see a Maxim next. You've already got the Zisgun, 2 squads of guards. This is a pretty robust line, but that Maxim will really let you grab some areas of the map, and that's what Steven needs to do. Alright, so we're barely 11 minutes into this game, and the Wehrmacht player has a ridiculous ticket lead, leading as they do, 494 over 230. Now that's far from game over, of course, but that is a rough spot to be in. Zisgun Barrage here going to find the MG42 and force that one back. But yeah, rough spot to be in for sure for the Soviet player. You'd never want to be this far behind. In fact, you generally, as a Soviet player, don't really want to be behind a Wehrmacht player. Because usually Wehrmacht in the late game really stabilize and become quite hard to deal with. I guess to Steven's, like, to his advantage, this is not a Tiger commander, so he's not going to have to worry about the big cat later on. But I mean, even a Panther on this map with the correct support can be devastating. Conscript squad here going to be lucky enough to escape. That would have been a dire loss for Steven, who's beginning to stack up a bit of manpower. Not quite sure what the plan is here. Possibly opting for the T-70. It looks like we could be seeing this manpower saved up for when he has 70 fuel to get the T-70, but I don't know. This fuel income is so slow. Okay, yeah, it is going to go for the Maxim now. I think this is the better choice. Oh dear, this has just been like double fuel for the Axis player this entire game. It's been so rough. Smoke Barrage comes down here, which is going to enable these Struppen to like be turbo annoying on this cutoff. Oh no. Oh, this smoke is just seemingly lasting forever. Alright, there we go. Line of sight resumes, and now the Struppen can be forced off of this point, but this has kind of been a clinic here. Heiling putting together a masterful assault here, using Struppens to their full advantage. Still really yet to see the artillery field officer do anything interesting, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but it feels like none of the cool abilities have been used to do anything super impactful this game. Alright, MG42 thundering away. Soviet forces beginning to press forward. Zisgun in a nice position once again. Maxim now on the field in a great position as well. So maybe now Steven can get up on top of one of these victory points as they desperately need to do. Flame projector here, going to guard the right flank. Oh no, forces the fallback immediately. Of course, there's only one Zisgun on the field right now, and that flame projector can't be controlled in all positions at once. So the or to put it another way, the Zisgun can only be in one place at once. So T-70 going to be added onto the roster here, though. That makes a lot of sense, and that is going to be super useful against all of these units, except for the Ostwind, which is just coming out. And this really tells you how badly this game has gone for Steven JF. That they're just managing to muster up a T-70, and for the Ostwind forces, and sorry, for the for the Ostia forces, and Ostwind is coming out. That's a pretty rough matchup there for the T-70, and one Zisgun is good, but it doesn't take a lot to go wrong from this position for the Ostwind and this Axis roster to just bust through. If you lose the Zisgun, you basically have nothing against the Ostwind, and that's kind of terrible. I think that was the artillery field officer putting down a barrage there. Going to get the Maxim to shift, but not for very far. Ooh, but then smoke barrage coming in. Nicely done. So that's going to block off this Maxim for now, enabling the Struppens to come forward and try and grab this point. They're not actually capping it right now. T-70 arrives, but just before the Ostwind here. Going to get some opening shots in. Ostwind is on the field now, so that's going to join the fray here. And I'm sorry, T-70, you cannot stay in this fight. The Ostwind just wins. And that is some lovely veterancy that the Ostwind was able to get there, chipping off about a third of the T-70's health on its first barrage. Zisgun in a nice position there. Now the Ostwind will have to retreat. This is just too much AT shells. Ooh, there's no line of sight on this Zisgun, for this Zisgun, so there we go. Finally, some conscripts going to provide some line of sight for the extra shot there. How good are T-70s, by the way? Look at that rate of fire. This is a Vet 0 T-70. It's like, wow. Maxim thundering away here. Panzer Grenadiers find themselves under the arc. They will be pushed back. No recourse for them, but still a triple cap established. We're about to dip below the 100 ticket mark here for Steven JF. Flame half-track going to be doing some over-the-hedge flaming here. Nice stuff. Forces the Maxim out of here. And this, I've got to be honest, has just been a story of a Soviet player who's been handily outplayed by just an Axis player who has had a plan and has executed that plan so well. This has been a plan of pressure, of attack, of taking ground and really being stubborn about giving it up right now. And Hireling has executed that plan so well, using the numerous durable, ablative almost bodies of the Ostruppen to put forward a line of forces, supporting it well with MG42, Panzer Grenadiers, and a roster of light armor, developing into a super early Ostwind, which I really like, because the Ostwind is like your lowest fuel, well, I mean, it's if we ignore the Stug for a second, what I'm saying is the Ostwind is a lot less fuel than a Panzer IV, but it's quite similar against low-tech units. The Panzer IV and the Ostwind, they're both just like quite mobile, turreted units that absolutely punish infantry and light armored targets. They only start really differentiating themselves against like medium armored targets, where of course the Panzer IV is much more useful than an Ostwind. But against this low tier stuff, the Ostwind is like super good and costs less. So you have to love the decision by Hireling, recognizing how far ahead they are, opting to try and close the door as rapidly as possible, and the Ostwind is the right tool for that. So, oh no, conscript squad here can't afford to be losing this. The 222 going to be trying to take some shots. Artillery coming down. That's the artillery field officer at play here. Catches the guards nicely. T-70 here is going to overrun. Going to pick up a 222 here, unless the Ostwind can come across and say something about this, but should be able to get this 222. Oh no, rolls a miss there. Oh no, the 222 is going to escape. Well, that's unfortunate. These engineers also get dragged forward into the base MGs, so that's a bit of a blunder there from Stephen. These things do happen, though. And finally, though, Stephen off the clock at 54 tickets under 494. Yikes, a casual 440 tickets behind. And this is rough, obviously. Panzer Grenadiers have got Panzerschrecks finished, so that T-70 is now a wanted unit. We'll see how long Stephen's able to keep it on the field for here. Ostwind is repaired. Flat cannon hurling shells into these conscripts. I suppose the only real like notable success story for this Soviet roster really has been this mortar tube. 2 stars of veterancy, 7 kills, seems to be getting consistent value as this game's gone on, but obviously that's not nearly enough to turn the tide. That'd be. So, alright, let's crack the tack here. Finally, the Soviet player has this tiny bit of power provided by having a Zis gun and a Maxim on the high ground here. So, the question is, can Hireling dislodge this position? Well, Ostwind is flanking with some Struppens. Here comes the Ostwind from the side here. Zis gun turns immediately, so Stephen on it with the Zis gun micro. That's nice. Gonna start taking some shots here. Donk. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. And the Maxim actually is not displaced. So far so good for Stephen, making it happen with limited resources here. Guard squad's going to rejoin the line now, and that's crucial. Pushes back the Ostruppen. Okay, so Stephen holds off the first wave. 222 though, and Flammenwerfer Pioneers flanking on the right. And the second Maxim's now on the field. Artillery field officer puts down a barrage on that Maxim. Insty fallback is called on them. Oh, have to be careful with the T-70 though. Oh, it's not inconceivable that a stray artillery shell could hit this tank. Oof, that was scary. Conscripts get the decap on mid. Ostwind and MG42 going to be just giving these poor conscripts though. This is not cool for the conscripts. And meanwhile, conscripts and guards pushing out on the right flank. I mean, credit where credit is due. In a horrible position in this game, Stephen is making a fight of this in the closing stages. But there's a Panzer IV on the queue, and there's just nothing really to deal with a Panzer IV supported by an Ostwind and a 222 here. I mean, a Zis gun and 2 squads of guards are good, but they're not that good. So this is going to be tough. Ostwind here finding more value. Zis gun on attack ground actually, so just not really tracking the Ostwind at all. Ostwind's going to like handily back in here. Hireling's being like, oh, I'm sorry, bro, did you want to hit my Ostwind? Here, then if I position it here, there you go, that'll do it. The flame projector half track goes down. T-70 with some guards able to pick that one up. 222 in a little bit of jeopardy here actually. T-70 gets picked off by the 222 though, and that is a fine trade. PTRSs do get the trade, but As the Axis player, you're happy with that all day. Ostruppen still being super active in the middle of the map, and the Panzer IV is now on the field, so we'll be joining just in time to keep the pressure on here, along with another wave of Struppens. Panzer Grenadiers at the front, touch awkward, because it means that they'll be the first to draw the fire of any MG that's covering the area. Not that there is one, actually. But you always want to just keep those Panzer Grenadiers just slightly behind the Ostruppen, just so that they take the fire first. Yeah, the suppression will be shared, but at least the damage won't be on those Panzer Grenadiers, who are a lot more expensive, of course. You really want to spread out the Panzer Grenadiers so they don't even get the suppression, though. Okay. That was a Bundaroo grenade coming off these Panzer Grenadiers, who are, like, really... These Panzer Grenadiers getting a lot of fallbacks, making life really hard for the Soviet player, and that's game. Wow, a story of domination there. Absolutely domination. A sub-21-minute game there with Wehrmacht in the heavy ascendancy. And this is why I love Ostruppen. You know, could you have done that without the Ostruppen commander? I don't know. It doesn't seem likely to me. 200 manpower squads that weigh in at 6 men, just able to punch on an even level with conscripts in the early game there. Taking a good couple of fights in the early stages. Oh, I love these like hands-like graphics that he always comes up with. They're so cool. So let's see. I'm just seeing if there's another game that we can watch here. Oh yeah, yeah, that could be cool. Let's watch this one. Overcommand versus UKF. Yeah, just like taking those initial engagements with the Ostruppen and then just never loosening his hold on the center of the map really there. And yeah, just a clinic there of Ostruppen might. And the Soviet player just so far behind on fuel, just like no way of looking back into that game. So a rough game for sure. But I love seeing Ostruppen do their thing. So yeah, looks like we're going to be on Nexus here. Spawning. In the west, playing as the Overcommand West pieces, it's going to be Sovereign. And a spawning in the east, playing as the United Kingdom forces, it's going to be... Okay, I mean, it's going to be block LU-K block hash Inca Una, which is something of a mouthful, so I'm probably just going to call this person Una or Inca. Inca's pretty cool, we'll call him Inca. Wow, Sovereign going to go straight ahead and pick the the Feuersturm doctrine. Awesome, cool. This is always a doctrine that I like seeing. It's actually just evolved significantly. It used to be a bit of a gimmick commander, like fun for laughs, but not really up to very much like in the actual game. Now, okay, the Flammetzer still doesn't really get seen that often, but is a fun unit. It is arguably usable. But this is the cool thing. Assault package. Storm Pioneers can get the Flammenwerfer, and Volks Grenadiers can get MP40s and grenade packages. That's cool. That's like the beginnings of a transformational commander, which I do think that are really fun to use in the game. The incendiary munitions gives the Ligs the incendiary rounds, which is cool. But then you get the Opel Blitz truck, which is just a way of getting... Oh, sorry, no, this is not the resource getting one. Sorry, this is the transport... Okay, you know what? I don't fully understand this unit. I think I need to see it again to remember what it actually does. And you get the like flame barrage, the flame like Stuka-Zafus rocket barrage. It's pretty cool. So yeah, as these two players move on out, I'll crack the tack here so we can see what's going on. We've got a Brain Carrier on the field, 2 squads of Tommies, Kugelwagen. So everyone's doing like pretty standard stuff so far. I'm going to spend a moment to talk about the other thing that's been taking up my time, besides work and all the other stuff that's been going on in my life. Which is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and this is somewhat surprising, even to myself, Call of Duty. Yes. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I picked it up and I've been playing it. I've got to say, I've been enjoying it a ton. Way back in the day, the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare on Xbox 360. I played a lot of that with my friends back in uni. Played an absolute ton of it. Like to think I was quite good at it too. Yeah, we had a great time playing that. And then Modern Warfare 2 came out some years later, and we played the hell out of that, and it was great. Haven't touched Call of Duty for like 10 years. And then this one came out, and I don't know what possessed me to buy it. But I did, and now some of my friends have it, and it's been great fun. So the little time I've had for like, how can I put it? Like recreational PC activities. Does that make sense? Like time that I'm sat at my desk using my computer, but I'm not working. Let's put it that way. has been spent on Call of Duty, and it's been so goddamn hilarious. Running around murking guys with an AK-47. Wow, it's been fun. It's been a long time since I've been into an FPS, and it's just been awesome. I cannot lie. So, yeah, that's like, I just thought I'd put that out there. Like, it's been really fun, that game. I am super surprised at how much I've been enjoying it. It's a good game. The production values are so high. And the core gameplay is super entertaining, as long as that's your kind of thing. It's quite light-hearted. It's like being in an action film or something, you know what I mean? You can't take it too seriously, but as long as you don't take it too seriously, hot damn, there's fun to be had there. So, okay, let's turn our attention back to this game now. We've got 3 squads of Tommies. Royal Engineers are on the field as well. No sign of an upgrade coming on this Brain Carrier just yet. 3 squads, Volksgrenadiers, Kubelwagen, Storm Pioneers, and with Schwervermacht Schlepper coming out right now. All very standard, all very safe, all very boring, all very overcommand. Overcommand, possibly, probably, maybe have the least build diversity of any early game. The least early game build diversity of any faction, I want to say. Feels like it feels like it's always the same thing out of them, because Storm Pioneers you start with, and Volksgrenadiers are very solid, and Kubelwagens are very useful. So it's normally like 0 to 1 Kubelwagen into 3 Volksgrenadiers to at least to start, sometimes 4. And it's very safe, it's very predictable, and we see it basically every game, unless someone's doing some weird Panzer Fusilier strat. But even then, it's like Panzer Fusiliers in the early game don't really play very differently to Volksgrenadiers. It's not like watching, say, I don't know, Soviets, my current favorite faction for some reason. God damn, I'm turning into a Soviet fanboy. But it's not like watching Soviets, where like right from the get-go, they've got so many different build compositions and tech routes that are open to them. And with so many transformational commanders and so many modular commanders as well, that it just feels like you're watching a different game every time. Whereas, with, yeah, like I say, with Overcommand, at least for the first like 5 to 7, 8 minutes of the game, it all looks very, very similar. And it's going to be a mechanized regiment, so this also, you know, we're used to seeing this. This often comes down first. We're seeing increasingly, though, battle group HQs being used, but definitely still the mechanized regiment taking the majority of games. Going to be the first pick hit. Whoa, Kubelwagen going to scoot away here, literally. Oh no, sorry, it was out of control. There we go. I thought I saw some flames on it. Uh-oh, Volksgrenadier in jeopardy here as well. Yikes, this is danger. Royal Engineers taking some shots here, but they're not finding any hits. That is lucky for Sovereign. I mean, Royal Engineers at that range with Vet Zero with the Sten guns, they would have been very lucky to pick up that kill, but it would have been absolutely heartbreaking for the Axis player if that happened. Looks like it's going to be a Panzer II build here for Sovereign. Makes a lot of sense. Panzer II is going to help deal with all of these units. Up here in the top right, Inkaruna is going to be forced to try and find some sort of... Whoa, these Volksgrenadiers getting hung out to dry. Faust's a good man, but so is keeping your infantry alive, so this is risky now. There's a lot of Tommies to be falling back past. He's still got a pixel to spare, has this Volksgrenadier, so it looks like he's actually going to be okay. Wow. That was lucky. There's a lot of timelines where that Volksgrenadier gets wiped, but this is not one of them, luckily enough for Sovereign. So, okay, Panzer II is going to hit the field just now. Let me just check what have we got coming here. It's going to be a, yep, 6-pounder AT gun coming out for the British player. So they're going to have something to do with the T-70, but this is one of those maps that's a little bit wider, a little bit broader at its widest point than the Langreskaya that we just saw. So on this map, one anti-tank gun doesn't shut down nearly so much of the map. So this Panzer II is still going to be able to find a lot of angles, find a lot of work on the flanks, find a lot of efficiency on the field. And, you know, if that if that Panzer II ever gets up on top of this anti-tank gun, then things are going to start looking bleak for the British player here. Now, speaking of looking bleak, things looking bleak for this Brain Carrier. The Panzer II is going to be cutting this one down to size. That autocannon rolling a lot of misses there. That's pretty unfortunate. Panzer II is going to maintain the chase, though. There's very little that can actually change the outcome of this battle. The 6-pounder AT gun is on the field now, though. Whoa, Panzer II... Okay, for a second there I thought it was going to come in for a base loop, try and like shoot some infantry as well. That would have been so ambitious.
They're trying to take it.
And... yeah. Panzer II, the Kingmaker on the field right now. Oh no, Tommy's in turbo jeopardy right now. That is dire. Yeah, that'll be a squad wipe. Things looking pretty dire right now. looks like we've got the Opel Blitz truck on the field, so it can distribute medical supplies and transport 2 units of geezers. So looks like we're seeing the Blitz truck being used in its medical supplies capacity right now. Going to be chilling in the base and healing guys. So it's essentially like a 3/4 ton ambulance in this role. I'm not sure if it can reinforce dudes. I hope it can. That would be really cool. This is a unit that I just need to experiment with. I literally think I've never called in one of these. Not from Feuersturm Doctrine. So, okay. That's a really cool thing to have, though, because it enables you to go for Mechanized Regiment HQ Opener and, like, totally be able to heal your dudes. Without, like, having to rely on Storm Pioneer medkits, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. MG34 getting added into the roster here for Sovereign, that makes a lot of sense. Vickers gun getting added in here for Inca. So both players diversifying their roster to some extent. Without a doubt, it's Inca who's come out the underdog in these fights, but is leading in the scoreline, so something at least. Inca with some time to work with there. Flammenwerfer Pioneers, the Feuersturm Doctrine providing additional value there. Oh, just Tank Buster Grenade comes down off the Royal Engineer. Sorry, for a second I thought that the little Panzer II hit some mines there, but that ain't the case. 6-pounder AT gun manages to find one shot there onto the Panzer II. Oh, and he gets the MG34? No way. All right, okay. All right, well, forget everything I was saying about most of the fights having gone Sovereign's way. Inca here getting a lovely engagement, able to push the Panzer II away. That one's going to have to spend some time repairing here, limping back as it is. And then wiping an MG42 and then stealing it is very nice. So, Inca, this is definitely one of those maps where you want 2 machine guns in the mid and late game. Because if I just crack the tack here, that way you can have like 1 MG sort of covering this area, 1 MG covering this area, or having like 1 MG covering the middle VP and 1 covering south. Or it's just a map where you need 2 MGs. Basically, it seems in the mid and late game, it's just a really good place to be. I've noticed on this map. And now Sovereign having 0 MGs, whilst Inca now has the 2. That is going to be super useful. Inca is not going to have to worry about buying additional MGs, whereas Sovereign has to somehow scrape up the manpower to get another MG or 2 in this game, if that's the option that they want to go for. I mean, I don't know. I feel, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like this is a very difficult map to play without some MGs. It's just, if you look at the terrain in the middle of the map, like, it's so open. There are very few line-of-sight blockers, so those MGs are able to lock down large swathes of map and are very good for overwatching the victory points on this map. So, yep. That's going to be the it's going to be the order of the day here.
Machine gun team ready for battle.
So here comes the second MG34 out of Sovereign, who is maintaining reasonable control over these VPs. MP40s appearing on one of the squads of Volks, which is pretty cool. Feuersturm Doctrine again. Up to some cool things. Royal Engineers lurking here, waiting to try and get a Tank Buster Grenade onto this Panzer II, which I'm sure they'd love to do. Look at these cunning guys. It's just... There we go, look, see? They're just right here. They're just right here. Ah, okay, the game is up. They're just going to gun down this Storm Pioneer in an ambush. That's pretty cool, man, hiding them behind that wall. Company of Heroes 2 is a fantastic game with a beautiful engine, which the True Sight feature really does make for some really interesting moments here and there in the game. The Pioneer's going to try and burn these engineers out, but they're not there anymore. They're going to run up here to try and save the anti-tank gun. Actually, these MP40 Volks Grenadiers evading the arc of this MG. They pick up the AT gun. Oh my goodness. I mean, that is... I was going to say it's merely inconvenient for the British player, but actually now the Panzer II comes in to pounce. And if this AT gun gets stolen, that's huge. Or can the Panzer II even get enough time to destroy it here? Yeah, that's what I'd do. Just park it right here and destroy it. No, he's not going to opt to destroy it. I think you should destroy that.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Unless he's just going to let the Volks grab it. This seems risky, though, because it's on the doorstep of your opponent's base. Okay, then. Alrighty, he's gonna grab that, and he will get it out of there. Insane. He's actually stealing a Tommy. He's stealing a Tommy. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, okay, they're gonna give him back. They're gonna give him back. That's brilliant. They actually almost like managed to loot a Tommy as well. Brilliant. Obersoldaten getting added into the roster here, so that means Schwerpanzer HQ, of course, has finished, and here it is. Schwerpanzer, oh, sorry, I should say Panzer Authorization, gonna be coming up here momentarily, so Sovereign looking prepared here to move into the late game. But speaking of looking prepared to move into the late game,
We're ready for orders.
a rather splendid Cromwell has arrived. And, yeah, I mean, obviously this is the Kingmaker on the field. Cromwell tanks, there we go, and Tank Commander finishes immediately. Cromwell tanks are actually super good. How much are they now? Are they like 100 and, 110 or something? They are still 110 fuel. I've always thought that the Cromwell for 110 is such a good tank. It basically feels like a T-34 on steroids. Like, you know, it's just the accuracy on this gun, once it has a Tank Commander, look at that, yeah, it just takes no prisoners. It's such a good medium tank. It can just flail around the map, sowing havoc in your opponent's lines. And they seem to trade insanely well with Panzer IVs as well, like consistently hitting and penetrating that Panzer IV, whereas it takes the Panzer IV usually up to like Vet 2 before it really feels like it's trading evenly with the Cromwell. The Tank Commander is just such a very useful upgrade. So this is risky though. This Cromwell is just taking a massive strafe up and down the front line of the map. Just kind of driving around in fog of war without a lot of infantry support. Could have run foul of some mines. You don't know if your opponent could have bought an Kettenwerfer. You know, you don't actually know. There could have been an ambush lurking out here. It's very easy to hit mines or get Fausted and then be stalked down by a Kettenwerfer. So a slightly risky line here being taken by that Cromwell, but he's going to get away with it, and that's okay. Maybe you just have a feeling that your opponent has been buying a lot of MP40s and Flammenwerfers and things. Oh, frag grenade comes down. That's nice. MP40s at this range will not take prisoners. Nice. So, another bit of loss there for Inca. That's like the second or third squad they've lost. Definitely at least the second squad of Tommies. You never want to lose those units. Centaur's going to run over here and discover the location of the Panzer HQ. That's useful to know. Looks like Inca are going to go ahead and choose their commander right now, and it's going to be the command. No, this is the Vanguard Regiment, isn't it? Yeah, Vanguard Operations Regiment. Sweet. So yeah, for a long time, definitely my favorite UKF commander, and still one which has a place dear in my heart. A really useful, well-rounded commander. One of those few commanders where all of these abilities are useful. Like literally, these are all really useful. So it's always nice when you have like a 5 out of 5 for like usable abilities on your commander. And yeah, there is a trap though, I want to say. There is a trap with this commander, which I see a lot of players fall into, which is that they go for this commander and then they just start buying crocodiles when crocodiles have no business being the right choice. Like, I get that the crocodile is a really nice sort of late game powerhouse, but it ain't a Tiger, it ain't an IS-2, it ain't a Pershing. It's a much more narrow unit, I want to say. No, that's not specifically true. It just doesn't scale into the end game quite as well as those other heavy tanks. And I think a lot of players fall into the trap of just thinking it's the thing to do. Like, I've taken a commander with a crocodile, I can afford one, it's the thing to do. It is the thing to do sometimes. Like, you have to assess the situation and ask yourself, do I need a shock attack tank? Do I need a line breaker? Or am I desperately struggling for both AT and anti-infantry resources? Oh, that's a heavy gammon bomb. Or is it just a gammon bomb? There we go. So that tells us that our hammer research has finished, I believe. Let me just check here. That is a hammer profoundly displayed on this base. So yep, going to be hammer tactics here for the British player. So those are the abilities for hammer, actually. It's been a long time since I've looked. You unlock the Comet tank. You get the gammon bomb. Your vehicles can be given emergency war speed by your engineers. Tank crews are trained to track enemy vehicles they have hit. They will remain visible for an extended period of time. Well, there's one. You see, this is a good thing I looked at these because I had totally forgotten that was a thing. And you can put all of the hammer upgrades on various squads, right? Actually, wait, no, you can't. Do the Royal Engineers get a hammer upgrade, or is it just they only get the anvil, like, heavy engineers thing? Yeah, okay.
Good news. The ability is ready for use.
Just like familiarizing. Whoa, we're seeing extensive use of these gammon bombs, and why not? You are floating a stack of munitions here as Inca. Squeaky moment there for that Tommy squad, but they do get out. And Inca now finds themselves in a mid-game where they are quite well set up, leading 453 tickets over 295. Cromwell has been on the field for a significant amount of time. Panzer IV just now on the queue. So there we go, yep, Star of Veterancy up now on this Cromwell. Veterancy rank 1 gives reduced cooldown of the smoke shell. Huh, that doesn't seem great, but okay. STG Volk's going to get a flank on an MG here, so Inca's going to have to pull that one back. Going to have to... Oh, no. But being quite slow to do so. And STG Volks take no prisoners, and they may take this Vickers, and that they will. Sorry, it's MG34, so there we go. German hardware going to get repatriated there. And Inca has just been suffering from a lot of little losses, like despite finding themselves, as I was just saying, in a really nice mid-game where, you know, the most important things are here. This is an okay roster. The Cromwell came out at a nice time. They're stacking enough fuel to take a Firefly to counter any heavy Axis armor. I like the position that Inca is in. It's just fine. But we've seen a couple of needless squad wipes. That MG34, Tommy's here and there as well. It's like, this is a game that's going fine, but could be going great for the UKF player. Obersoldaten now in mid, just going to be plying their deadly trade, falling back in the face of too many Tommies though. Here comes the Panzer IV. That's going to announce itself here in the middle. And then come rumbling forwards here. The Cromwell at the moment is damaged. And the Royal Engineers actually just... Are they in the hood? Yeah, here they are. Okay, so this is a tank that needs some repairs right now. The Vickers goes down. Volks are going to steal the Vickers as well. No way. Wow. Okay, that's huge. So in these last moments of play, we've seen like a net 4 squad. Okay, okay. Okay, all right. Looks like, nope. Looks like this one's going to be staying with the UKF. I was going to say, if that Vickers gun went to the Axis player, that would be a net 4 squad change. You know, losing 2 off of the British side, gaining 2 on the Axis side. On a map that I've already said where MG's in the mid and late game are actually super useful for overwatching the... What on earth was that? Did anyone else see that incendiary firestorm thing? Just like, there was like a tentacle monster of fire just like right there. I don't understand. I am so confused. What on earth was that? I've never seen that ever. Huh. Alright, well, there we go. That's a crocodile. Okay. What do we think about this crocodile? It's a difficult one to assess.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
I guess this crocodile is okay, because you know your opponent's just spent their fuel on a Panzer IV. You have a Cromwell and an AT gun already, so you're not gasping for anti-tank. Like, this is probably too early for a Firefly. So you have the fuel. I don't know, how is the Comet these days, guys? Somebody tell me. I've not seen a Comet forever. How is it? Because there was definitely Comet fuel there. Where's the Comet? Here it is. 175 fuel, 480. I don't know. I feel like possibly a Comet would have been a nice choice, because a Comet is an absolute punisher, and it deals very well with the Panzer IV, scales very well into the late game, or at least it always used to be. So I don't know if the Comet's been nerfed or changed in some way, because I ain't seen one. But... I don't know, I feel like this could have been a game for a Comet. Alright, Crocodile here is going to find some Volks Grenadiers. They're going to get burninated. Faust comes down, that will break the engine. So that's... No, it won't. Wow. The Kettenwerfer hit just coming slightly after the Faust hit there, so the engine is intact on that.
Capture point is being overrun.
Cromwell policing infantry in this portion of the map. Oh, that's a Stuka's Fus barrage. Oh, I've missed that. Is that the incendiary one? Yeah, so that's... Oh, it's not even incendiary. Sorry, it's just a rocket barrage now. Okay. Alright, so rocket barrage going to come down there. Looks like it hit like 2 Tommies or something, maybe? I didn't actually see it. I'm not sure it actually got anything there. And now we've got the Spitfire air support. Sorry, Hawker Typhoon air support. Crocodile just marauding around the middle of the field. So it's this Cromwell actually. Fearless. Jagdpanzer is the choice. I guess so. Yeah, I guess if you have no hard AT in your roster and you're moving into a sort of late mid-game / mid-game against a UKF player who's shown you a Cromwell and a Crocodile, it is time to bring out the Yagdi, especially on a map that looks like this. This is a really good map for tank destroyers, for all the same reasons that it's good for machine guns earlier that I was mentioning. It's just open in the middle. Oh dear, actually, the base defenses are getting worked down here. Crocodile going to lumber in as well. This Crocodile's slightly wounded though, so this seems like a bit of an overextension, but it looks like he really just wants to cook up some Axis infantry here. Don't come in too close though, bro. You don't want these Volks Grenadiers getting on top of you. I say, these Volks Grenadiers, what Volks Grenadiers? They're not actually here in the base. Oh no, this is turning into an absolute massacre. Obersoldaten doing the Bernie dance here in their base. Flak defenses are, they hit hard, but they're very, very soft, and the Cromwell will rapidly take care of these. Oh no! Oh no, this is like exactly what you want to do with a Crocodile every time you can. You want to get it into your opponent's base. You want to burninate all their squads. Oh no. Look at this wasteland. This is an apocalyptic wasteland that used to be an overcommand base. Yikes. Oh no, that's some good damage. Jagdpanzer's going to come in here and is going to be able to chase these units away. Can't overextend though. How damn slow are these tanks when they reverse?
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Okay, Jagdpanzer. Oh no. That was so devastating. And now we're seeing, is this another Cromwell? I think that's another Cromwell. It's hard to tell. The silhouette of a Cromwell is like very similar to the silhouette of a Comet, but I'm pretty sure this is a Cromwell. It doesn't have like any bumps on the back, and the turret looks about the same length. So, vehicle crew repair is going to come down here. So yep, these units are going to start repairing themselves. Jagdpanzer angling forwards though, wants to find some shots on these repairing tanks, and finds them. £6 AT gun though in the hood. The smoke right now actually just enabling these Axis units to get some shots onto this AT gun. Obersoldaten at this range, very nice. Jagdpanzer getting some lovely shots, finding some veterancy. Almost 1 star already off of the back of like 3 or 4 penetrating hits, so that's really nice. The Jagdpanzer, one of those units that scales with veterancy like insanely well. Oh my goodness, this Storm Pioneer is pushing so hard. Rocket barrage comes down. That is one of the more brutal barrages in the game, isn't it? That has changed a lot since I remember it. But I mean, this is the problem though. We're looking at a late game now. We are moving into the late game. Where, I mean, look at the top left. This Axis army is tiny and so ill-equipped, and this English army is fine. It's not the best. We've seen better, but this is going to be very difficult for the Axis player to deal with. The Jagdpanzer IV now finds itself in duress. It's just fine as long as it can keep this Cromwell in arc. And this is some nice micro here from Sovereign, keeping the gun on the Cromwell. If the Cromwell can get onto the flanks of this AT gun, though, it's going to be hard times. Here's the other Cromwell, and this is the problem. Oh no, well, that'll be a dead Jagdpanzer. And with that, I feel Sovereign's hopes of redemption in this game have faded. Yeah, that'll be the GG. And you've got to say, fair enough, there's nothing that can be done in that game. Not once you lose the Jagdpanzer. Sovereign there just finding themselves in the underdog position, coming into the sort of like late mid and the early late game, and trying to make a desperate move there. Losing the Panzer IV was a devastating blow, forcing Sovereign into a Jagdpanzer IV. The base raid from the Crocodile was utterly brutal stuff. I mean, you hate to see it, but you also kind of love it. Yeah, that was like super nasty crocodiling going on there. The Jagdpanzer comes out there to help stabilize, but unable really to pursue out on the map for fear of being lost, flanked and lost, and ultimately finding itself caught out just too far out on the map. 2 Cromwells, just a nice combination there for dealing with the Jagdpanzer. And I've got to say, it's really nice to see a game at last where I've seen a Cromwell flourish. It feels like it's been a long time since I've seen a Cromwell do well. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that tank. 110 fuel. It's a spicy little unit. You know, that is not expensive. And with the Tank Commander upgrade, it is a good tank. I like it. There's not much more to say about it. It's a rather splendid Cromwell. So yeah, a couple of interesting games caught here. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for casting today. I'm going away for the weekend tomorrow. That'll be Friday the 22nd. So I'll be going away for the weekend, but hopefully before I'm off tomorrow, I can get a cast. I'm going to head on to the Homeworld Discord and ask them why my replays aren't working, if there's been something up with that. Hopefully somebody can help me out, and hopefully I can cast some Deserts of Correct tomorrow. That'll be smashing. But yeah, that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching, and this for now, Magpie842 signing out.